with you once again, and I have missed you all so very much. We are here at the APOSA, Apostolic Professionals and Students Association Global Conference of 2022. And I am here with my dear daddy, Superintendent Dan Quartey. And we're just going to talk about a few of the things that have been happening here. And also, we have not seen Pastor Dan since the Christmas convention. So we'll be touching base on some of the things that happened at the Easter convention that, my darlings, you missed. So Pastor Dan, welcome once again. It's so great to have you. How are you feeling being here at the 2022 conference?
Wonderful. It's a wonderful experience to be here, and I'm so happy and excited about the environment and everything going on here. And above all, it's wonderful coming your way, viewers, wherever you are, and having the time to share a few thoughts with you once again on this channel.
How have you felt the energy of the conference since you've been here these past 2 days?
It's been wonderful. Looking at where we're coming from, we've gone through a long break, and it's not easy coming from the break, but I see the excitement and the energy of all the youth coming together again. I can say that, yeah, the spirit is back.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll see a lot more of that spirit at tonight's service. But Pastor, we have not spoken to you since the Christmas convention.
Sure.
And at the Christmas convention, Pastor Dan spoke to us about the One Church agenda. So we kind of want to backtrack a little bit, because we want to know what's going on with this agenda. So I want to ask you, Pastor, have you thought about some type of system of accountability to make sure that the different various churches are actually executing this agenda across the different assemblies?
That's very interesting. Yes, we've been monitoring and having series of meetings at the pastorate level, discussing how they are coping with the One Church agenda. I believe at the pastorate level, or maybe at the presbytery level, we've done a lot to get the information out there. Now, talking about accountability and making sure that people are implementing it. It's quite a new thing for most of the assemblies. Some have accepted it in principle, but practically they are asking questions as to how real. So we don't really want to push too much on demanding accountability from them, but we are doing that in a different form. The strategy is monitoring compliance. We are monitoring how the various assemblies are complying with the directives. And one of the key factors in this One Church agenda is to getting our members equipped, you see, and getting all the assemblies and all churches focusing on the fact that we are one church. So their compliance is giving us a clue. It's a kind of way by which we are assessing where things are going. I would say so far so very good. At the pastorate level, at the presbytery level, they are complying with every directives. They are responding to training programs that we are putting across. And anytime we demand certain information that we need to put together to confirm that we are one church, the pastorate and the presbytery are doing very well. So I'll say for now that the compliance level is very high, and that is what we are using as a yardstick to measure the the assessment and how people are implementing it. So far, I would say very good for a very young vision here, and people coming from a far different angle and coming to that level. So far, so very good. But we are using compliance to assess how they are implementing it.
Good, and we're very excited to hear about that. In your guiding and your assessment of making sure that churches are in some fashion able to adapt into this agenda, is there a timeline at all of when this should be done?
Yeah, there wouldn't be a specific timeline on all this to be done. We will have to grow into it and improve upon it. So it's going to be what I would say a lifelong thing, because this church is dynamic, it's growing, new assemblies are coming in, new pastors are coming in. The One Church agenda will continue to be in existence. So we are not looking forward to a point in time when we say, okay, we are now there.
Right.
No, we'll continue and continue till Christ comes.
Yeah.
But the agenda is that we all, both the current churches, new churches that are going to come in, new members are going to come in. Once they come in, those of us who are in already and have bought into the agenda, we'll introduce them to it and we'll make sure that they flow in it. So it's going to be what I would say, a lifelong agenda for the church. But at the management level, we set certain targets for ourselves.
Okay.
We set certain time limits for specific goals to be met. So that is where we are measuring. When it comes to training of all pastors, we think the pastors need to be equipped for this thing. So we set a timeline for a certain particular training. So once that is done, we move to the next level. So with specific items that we are implementing, yes, we set a timeline at the management level to make sure that at certain times, certain goals are met. But on the whole, in the general sense, I would say that the One Church agenda has come to stay. And it's something that is going to be passed on even to our youngsters who are coming from. Because a young child in a place in Ohio, growing in the church, has to be talked into the fact that we are one church and we have a church in Virginia and we are one. So you see that the training and this whole agenda will continue for generations to come, because they will not understand why he's in Ohio and you are telling me he belongs to a church in Virginia. So it's going to be a continuous thing.
Good. And let's talk a little bit about the youth. So this is a great segue, actually. The last time we spoke, I know the youth was a big thing for you. You were kind of trying to brainstorm, how can we get the youth to stay? How can we make sure the youth are invested? Today we heard something very, very inspirational, that a young group of girls, actually, at Plattsburgh University have established the first APOSA campus ministry, and you are going to meet them in due time, my loves. But let's quickly talk about it, Pastor. How do you plan to make sure that the students and the youth and the college students in the apostolic ministry are not only identifying with APOSA, but actually feel like they have a place in the One Church agenda?
Wonderful. And this conference has really answered that question, because what is going on here and the discussions we had from last night up to now, I was a bit shaky from the beginning when I got to know that some of them are not even aware of the One Church agenda. But I know it's a process, so I don't need to get worried. But once we started talking about it, you could see the excitement on their faces. They could see that, oh no, this is long overdue. And this afternoon session also threw more light on it, because in our deliberations and talking about these young girls who have started APOSA on the campus, it's spreading across. So it's become like a global village. We are one. Yeah. We are just in it. So what somebody is doing affects what somebody else is doing. And with the youth, I think they are buying into it more, because they are seeing the tremendous benefits that it will be to them when we come together as one church, because they have so many challenges. And some of the challenges can be addressed from resource persons at other places. So with this light and with a conference like this, when you talk about it and embrace it, I believe this APOSA conference is going to send a big message out there. And the youth are already excited about it. So this is what we've been waiting for all these years. So I believe conferences like this will get a message across. But I'll be quick to admit that we have to impress it more on the pastorate. They don't need to come to a APOSA camp meeting to be told about this. I will impress it more on the pastorate and tell them, at your local assembly, spread the vision. Let them know. It's very important. And I believe that will carry the message across. Very soon the youth convention is going to come. So with these conventions, yes, we'll do it at the area level, but please, at the local level, let the youth understand where we are, because they are excited about it. And I will say for a fact, they are the best beneficiaries of this One Church agenda. Because very soon, their expectations and their disappointments about the Apostolic Church is fading away. The youth agenda, the One Church agenda will swallow all their fears and their disappointments. So they are in for it, and I'm seeing it at this conference.
Yes, and we have seen it as well. Pastor, thank you so much. But in closing, there's something that is heavy on all of our hearts. So many mental health issues have come about in the peak of the pandemic, and now even coming out of the pandemic, different individuals, namely also in the church, are dealing with anxiety, are dealing with depression. What are some things that you think the church can do, and even in this One Church agenda, the entire collective of the Apostolic Church can do to support its members in the height of these mental health issues?
That is a very brilliant question, and it's a huge challenge on us, the leadership of the church. COVID came and it's gone or it's going, but directly or indirectly, we are dealing with the effects unknowingly, because I could see that people have been put in a tight corner for a while. We used to wearing face masks and all those things. Now we are removing them. But whether we like it or not, as a society, we have to agree that COVID has had its impact on our lives. And those who cannot wait to be released from that influence is the youth, because most of them are inexperienced, as we know. They are young, so they find it difficult on how to handle situations like that. And that is where the church comes in. And with the one church agenda, we can easily, like we've started, identify resource persons within the church. So wherever you are under the one church agenda, resource persons can be available to you. Today, for instance, at this meeting, we have seen that we have so many clinical psychologists here in the church. They may not be in your assembly, but the one church agenda can get them to wherever you are. Yeah. So we need these clinical psychologists. We need to have conferences like this, so that when they come, they realize that, okay, COVID is over, the pandemic is over, I better get my mind off that stress. And most of these things, spiritually and psychologically, these gatherings really impact the youth. So what I would say for sure is that let us continue as parents, as churches, encourage the youth in your church to get involved in these conferences, because I'm seeing a big relief on the faces of these people here. Then apart from that, we come together and tap into the resources, the personnel that we have, the wonderful professionals that we have in the mental health department, to come out and make their services available. And I want to assure every apostolic and everyone out there, we have the professionals. And the women's movement, the men's movement, at your various meetings, just reach out to us if you need a resource person. They are there within Apostolic Church. They are ready to help. And I believe with that, we can reach out to the various assemblies on their weekly programs and educate them about how to manage this stress and get out of it. But above all, I believe our coming together and our fellowship, the fraternization, I believe people are having fun out there. It's a way of releasing part of the stress. They've been in there for a long time. But Apostolic Church has programs like this that helps the youth, get out of such situations.
Thank you so much, Pastor Dan. So my lovely royals, that is myself, Nana Akuba, and our superintendent of the Apostolic Church, Dan Quartey, coming to you from Sandy Cove, Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you again, Pastor Dan.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure having you.